Hey guys, I'm Geek. In this video, I wanted to share a couple initial setups and tips that I always do on my handheld gaming PC devices. I've done a lot of these things on my Legion Go and other devices that I've owned, and of course the ROG Xbox Ally is no exception. It's a gaming PC. So hopefully a couple of these tips will actually help you out, especially if you're new to handheld gaming devices like these right here. So first of all, after you do all the updates, of course, you remember this on this device, you have to do updates on the Armor Crate. Make sure you always are updated here in Armor Crate. Just going to show you guys where you update that. You should know already if you already have this device already set up. But of course, make sure you always check in your Armor Crate. Make sure you have updates. And look at this right now. There is an update available right here. There's an MCU firmware update. Okay, so I'm not gonna do this on the video, but just make sure everything is updated. But right now, make sure you update that, and we're gonna go ahead here to Windows Desktop, because from right here, make sure you always go to your Microsoft Store, because there's a lot of applications, of course, that always needs to get updated. Like for example, when you click here and your updates and downloads, check for updates. And most likely something's gonna need to get updated. Like right now, look at this. The AMD Radeon software needs to get updated. So I'm just gonna go ahead and update that. Of course, I'm gonna quit right there. But also on the other update, you always have to make sure you are up to date is Windows Update. So all these things are separate updates. Look at this. As I'm making this video, updates are popping up. There's another update here for 25H2. Yeah, as well. So okay, I'll do that when I'm done with this video. Once you have everything updated on your device, let's go and show you guys now the tips that I usually do. Right, since this is a handheld gaming PC, keep in mind, when I use these devices, I want to use these devices as handheld gaming devices. I don't want to treat this as a PC. Yes, this can be your PC if you want, but that's not what I want. And most likely, if you bought this for gaming, that's not what you want either. Yes, you can do PC stuff, but you want to prioritize gaming. So that's why a lot of these things that I do is applicable here on handheld gaming devices. So let's go and start with the first one. Like, go to settings. I always go to settings, go to apps, and installed apps. Here in installed apps, there's going to be a lot of applications, since remember, this is Windows after all. So there's going to be a lot of applications that are going to be here that you just don't care for. Like sometimes you have like Excel and all that. So all that stuff, I actually deleted, uninstall everything that I don't want here. And I recommend you guys to do the same thing, because at the end of the day, this is my handheld gaming device, not my PC. So for example, that right there, family, if I want to uninstall that, I could just press uninstall and it's just going to uninstall. Why do I want an application that says family? I don't know. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you should uninstall. The other thing you should do is definitely go to startup. These are applications that actually start up when you go into desktop mode. So now that this device actually has the full screen mode, now over here, you're going to see some applications that say start when exiting to desktop. So that means that when you're switching from the Xbox mode, right? Xbox mode to Windows, these applications are actually going to start up. And sometimes you don't want a lot of these applications to start up. So that's why I have almost everything off. Like if I want to turn off a ROG or Screen Manager, I'm just going to turn that off. That way, when I switch to here, it just doesn't turn on in the background. So yeah, just make sure everything here is off unless there's something that you really want it to start when you go into desktop mode. The other thing that I really recommend to do here is to install your launchers from here instead of installing the launchers from the Xbox screen mode, because here is actually easier to do the initial setups like password, emails, and all that. Yes, you could do a lot of those things over there on the full experience mode, but sometimes when you download a launcher like Ubisoft or GOG or Epic, sometimes you still have to use the keyboard and it's a little bit finicky. So I do recommend to actually install all the launchers that you want. That way when you go into full experience mode, they are already there, set up and ready to go. That's one thing that I usually do. The other thing that I do is something that AMD does, enable by default. And I go ahead here, tap here on the screen. It says AMD software adrenaline. Tap right there. Okay, it's gonna tap right there. Okay, it's gonna open this right here. Go to settings, and in settings, go to display. In display, you're gonna swipe here in the bottom, and this right here, it says very bright. I think when I first launched this, it was actually over here in optimized battery. So that what it does is that it adjusts the screen so it could be optimized for battery. I recommend to actually turn that off, because when you're playing in handheld mode, you really want everything that you see on the screen, you really want it to look nice and bright, and you don't want the system to be doing any adjustments for you. So yeah, I recommend to actually leave it completely down, maximize brightness. I recommend to just keep it down completely. The other thing that I recommend to do, especially if you know you're going to be safe with this device, you're not going to be doing any piracy or any emulation that is going to be, you know, kind of dubious. If you're okay with that and you know you're secure, I just want this for gaming, so I know what I'm doing on my device. So right here, I'm just going to go to core isolation. And this is something that even Windows says that if you disable this, it will actually improve your performance of your device. But of course, this is all has to do with encryptions and all that. So this right here says memory integrity, turn it off. I keep it off because I know what I'm doing, so I just keep it off. The other thing that I do here is once you have that off, it's gonna make you restart the system. So just go ahead and restart the system. The other thing that I do here is go to Windows features, turn on Windows features. Right here, make sure that virtual machine platform is actually unchecked. Sometimes it's going to be checked. Make sure it's actually unchecked. By default, it was actually unchecked, so that's pretty good. That was out of the box, it was actually unchecked. The other thing that I do is turn off encryption. Go ahead here, go to privacy, device decryption, and right here, device encryption, I just turn that off. Keep in mind, this is going to take a while, so make sure you're doing this when you're not going to be using the system. But the system, even though yes, it's going to take a while, the system still lets you do something. Sometimes I just turn that off, read the warning, and just start playing video games, and it'll still do the unencryption on the background. So yeah, I just turn that off. And that's just going to improve the device. All the power that you're going to get here is just going to go for gaming. So that's something that I always do. Now let's go ahead into Xbox mode, the full experience mode. Right now, I'm not going to restart the system because we're working on this video. But normally, of course, if you're going to go play video games here, just restart the system. That way, anything that opened in the background just shuts off and it's ready for gaming. Right here, we're not doing it because we're doing this video. So one thing here I like is this right here, right? The homes. This is the game bar. But sometimes there's some things here that I just don't care for. I just go ahead, click here, close, and it just closes those tabs right there. That's one thing that I do. The other thing that I do here is that I add and take out some of these buttons that I don't want. Or I add some of the buttons that I want to have here. So to do that, you just press the Y button right here, and here you can actually add like a widget right here, or right here, these buttons right here, you can actually take them off if you don't want to have some of them on there. Like for example, I could take FSR off because that's something that I do it in game. I don't like to do it here, so I could take that out. But if I want to add something, I could just go ahead, click add, and I can add something from here. So if, for example, if I want to add game library, if I want to add that refresh rate, add it right there, and there you go, it's added right there. If I want to move it, I want to click right here, I could go ahead and move it here on the top and select it right there. And when you're done, just click back, and now you're gonna have refresh rate right there. So for example, here I actually put the color cycle. So right here I can actually click right here, and it automatically changes. Like see here, it changes the pattern or the behavior of the buttons. So that's one thing that I added there. So I recommend to actually play with this. That way you can customize this Armor Crate command center as much as possible. The other thing that I want to show you guys, it's inside the Armor Crate. Let's go ahead back here or here. Oops. Click here. And we're going to go to Armor Crate. Click right there. Let me go and wipe this. Okay, so once you're here, one thing that I want to do is go to Performance. Here in operating mode, this right here that you see there, it's basically this right here. So you got silent, performance, and turbo, and you got manual. If you click on manual, I think it's not gonna let you do nothing unless you do something over here. Where it says manual here, I like to actually make my own one right here. So normally I like to play like around 22 watts. And turbo normally takes you to 35 or 25. So if you want to have the advantage of having that manually there in the Armor Command Center, just click right here. It's going to give you a warning, but okay, make sure you know you're doing. Over here, this is where you're going to control. So right now, like you see, I have it on 22, but you could go all the way up to 35. I don't recommend obviously to go to 35, but for me the sweet spot is 22. And over here I put it on 24, and here I put it on 27. Yeah, I just leave it like that. And when you're done, you know what you're doing. You can actually name this. You can rename this. Right now I name it my TDP, and once you're done, just click apply, and you know what you're doing. Another warning there letting you know what you're doing, and that's it. So the cool thing is that once you do that, right, you have the menu option. Now you over here, when you go to the menu option, you click right there, and now you have this option right here. Look at that. So now you can actually adjust on the fly your TDP manually. You can go all the way down to 7, or you can go ahead and adjust it midway game. If you're playing a video game, you're like, you know what, let me go ahead and put this up all the way up to 28 or 27. So now you have these sliders right here to do the adjustments. So yeah, I recommend to actually do that, because that's normally what I do on all my devices. And this, believe me, this does not affect, this is not going to damage your device at all. So yeah, that's something cool that once you do this adjustment over here, is going to add it to the command center. The other thing that I recommend also is go to GPU, go to VRAM. Here by default is at 8 gigabytes, which is okay. I think that's okay. But here, since this device actually has 24 gigabytes of RAM, the VRAM, I actually leave it at 10. Put it on 10. I think that's going to be a lot better, especially if you're playing a lot of big AAA games on this device. I recommend to put it on 10. And once you do that, you put it on 10, it's going to make you restart the system. Just make sure you always restart the system, okay? The other thing that I do here is go back here. Oh, wait. Okay, echo on GPU settings. Yeah, in GPU settings also, I also always enable this right here, Radeon anti-lag. I always do that because this, what it does, it improves the input between the buttons and the game. So like see there, the lag between user inputs on screen changes by dynamically adjusting the frame timing. So I always turn that on every device that I have. I always turn that on. Everything else I leave it off, because a lot of those things you can actually do it in game, and I rather do the adjustments while I'm playing a game, and I'll control FSR from there. So that's why the only thing that I do that's it. Everything else I just leave it off. Here, one thing to keep in mind, you can go to battery care, and it has this option right here. It says battery care mode limits the charge to 80% to reduce long-term battery wear, ideal for prolonged AC adapter use. So if you're gonna have this device plugged in like all the time, a lot of times, honestly, I would turn that off, but I would turn this portion on. This one right here says charges the battery to 100% when fully capacity is required. Battery care mode automatically resumes after 24 hours. So if you're on the go and you want to make sure you actually charge your device at 100%, right? Just make sure you turn it on. That way it charges at 100%. while you're on the go. But automatically at 20, when it comes to 24 hours later, it's gonna automatically switch to over here, which is good. You know, that I leave it on right there. But if you want to leave this on instead, that's up to you. But for me, I just leave it right here, and then it will automatically later on switch to battery care mode. The other thing that I do here is that, let me go and click that, get out of here there. The other thing that I do is sometimes Steam Deck, right? I do upload or download a lot of games from Steam, because I do have a lot of games from Steam. And the thing is, when you're using Steam, okay, oh, there you go. That's a custom startup screen that I have on my Steam when it launches in full screen mode. So the thing is, sometimes these buttons can be annoying, because if you're doing something else that's not on Steam, it will activate Steam, and that's something that becomes very annoying. So make sure you actually go to settings. When you go to here to controller, over here it says guide button focuses Steam. Over here, that's going to be on by default. Make sure you turn it off. Make sure you actually turn that off. Like, see, that also has enable Steam inputs. That's okay. I always turn that off, because like I said, sometimes these buttons, when you're not doing anything on Steam, it activates Steam, and that becomes very annoying. The other thing is that if you want this to always launch in full screen mode, like you saw right there, I launched Steam and it opened up in full screen mode. Make sure you go to interface, and right here it says start Steam in big picture mode. That's going to be off by default. Make sure you turn it on. That way, every time you turn on Steam, it actually loads up like this. It actually loads up like if you were playing this on the Steam Deck. So yeah, that's one thing that I always do, and it just makes it look a lot better, and it's a lot better to actually navigate around than when you have the normal mode. Now, some people were asking me, hey, how the hell did you get the YouTube application there? It's very easy. When you open up YouTube on a browser, let's say you open YouTube here on the browser, and YouTube has an option, I think it's right here, open. You know what, let me go and delete this. You know what, it won't let me delete it. But yeah, when you open up the browser, when you open up this right here on YouTube, right here there's going to be an option to create an application, right, or download an application for YouTube. Make sure you actually hit on that, and when you hit on that, it's actually going to create an application for YouTube. And right now, I have it pinned to my taskbar. That way, I just click right there, and when you open up YouTube, when you hit it right there, it just opens up into the YouTube application instead of being like a browser. It is way better, and it looks way better like this. So yeah, that's the last tip that I want to share with you. But of course, let me know in the comments if you have other tips that you want to share in this video. Of course, one application that I always install right away is this right here. It says Send Anywhere. This application, I use it on every computer that I have, because with this application, I can actually share like screenshots and videos from my phone to my devices. And yes, I know that there's an option for connecting your Android devices to Windows, but I don't know, I just like that application. I've been using it for years, so every time I download or use a Windows device, I have to download Send Anywhere. It just works for me very flawlessly every time. So that's all I wanted to share. Let me know in the comments other tips that I should know, and tips that a lot of people in the comments should learn as well. And of course, I hope you actually share and like this video. Thanks for watching. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.